Hello everyone, my name is Abby Bliss White and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to do a fun get ready with me. I have got a little bit of a haul here and I'm so excited to share these products with you. So we're going to be playing with a couple new Koh Gen Do products. I have the new Moisture Foundation, which is an old favorite, but they have reformulated it after 30 years. So we're going to be playing with that on my face today, as well as they just came out with maybe my dream powder. This is the Sheer Moisture Powder from Koh Gen Do. This recently launched, so we're going to be using that on complexion. And then I had to pick up the Byredo. This is the Corporate Colors little palette. I'm a huge fan of Byredo fragrances, and so I thought we would do a little look using that palette today, and then of course we're going to have to finish off with a Byredo fragrance. If you are interested in seeing how I created this look, play with some new makeup, a couple little Chanel lippies as well, then let's go ahead and get started. Okay guys, we are going to play with some new makeup and I'm so excited. I did pick up the new Koh Gen Do. This is the Moisture Foundation. Now, I've been a long time fan of the old version, almost actually out, so it was kind of perfect timing that they came out with this new version, and I got it in the same shade 1, 2, 3. We'll swatch both just to see if there is a difference. So this product has been kind of a cult favorite for a very long time. They said that this has been reformulated or reborn with the most innovative powder from Japan. So the new mineral pigments are now combined with 80% plant-powered ingredients. So I've always enjoyed Koh Gen Do. I kind of got into it after having a rosacea outburst and was kind of steered toward that line of cosmetics because it is really a pretty darn clean brand, and Moisture Foundation has been one of my favorites. So I love Aqua Foundation, to be honest. I love to combine the both of them for like the best of both worlds, but for the purposes of today, we are going to use this new one. So it sounds like it's just been kind of upgraded with the new innovative powders. It's going to be good for your skin. And what I thought I would do first is just give a swatch of the old version with the new version. I have both of these in the shade 1, 2, 3. The top one is the old version and the bottom is the new version. Now, just while I was applying them just as a swatch, I will tell you the consistency of the new one felt just slightly kind of thicker, a little bit more cream-like, I guess I would say. Still thin consistency, but it just had a slight, like the first one felt a teeny bit more serum-y. This one felt slightly thicker, but more in a moisturizing way, not like in a cakey kind of way. So as you can see, the differences in the packages, it's still the classic red kind of squeezy tube, which I really enjoy, especially for travel. Not that we're doing that right now, but this is a good one to travel with. And then they both have the Koh Gen Do little logo on top, but just a little bit more cleaned up and kind of a cleaner look on the new packaging. And then we're going to go ahead and use this. I also have to say we're trying a new powder, so I'm so excited. So this is always fantastic to use, especially during the winter months. But if you have dry skin, this truly is a favorite of mine. I'm just going to take about a pea size here, and we'll put this on just like this. Now the deal with Koh Gen Do is they do have several shades, but picking them out is always been a little tricky. But they do have little sample kits that you can kind of get the nearest, like if you're a light medium. So I would definitely recommend picking up the kind of samples because then you can kind of try and see which ones are going to work the best. I'm going to take my Rare Beauty little foundation brush here, and I am just going to kind of buff this into the skin. You can also just use this with your fingertips. But I found that shade 123 works pretty well for my sort of light medium skin. This is described as a warm or toned foundation, but honestly, it works just fine. Okay guys, this is one pea size amount on my skin, and this is described as being a very skin-like kind of foundation. It includes their gloss film powder, so that's their innovative powder, and it is also housed in kind of a very moisturizing kind of base with plant powered ingredients. So this is going to be good for your skin. So it says that it's going to be very long wearing and that it is sweat and oil resistant. So that all sounds good to me, but really I kind of judge foundations on the way they feel and look on my skin, and I've always just really enjoyed this moisture foundation. I found that it gave me nice coverage, kind of felt hydrating, but without looking cakey at all. So again, this is going to give you kind of a skin-like kind of coverage. It's not going to be your full-on coverage kind of foundation. I find it to have a little bit of glow in it, but not overly glowy. So I'm going to pull you in so you can see it a little closer up. Okay guys, close up of this foundation, and again, this is about a pea size of that moisture foundation new version. Now, as far as the differences of feel between the two on my skin, I'm not going to be able to tell you guys. They both have that kind of skin-like feel, feels hydrating, but not overly heavy or anything like this. So I'm not finding a huge amount of difference between the old version and this new version. I think it really is that they included that gloss film powder, and if you can see, it's giving me kind of a nice kind of glossy or skin-like kind of finish on my skin. Next item that I'm so excited about is Koh Gen Do just came out, sorry, I'm not trying to flash you, with this sheer moisture powder, giving you a little reflection here, and this just sounded like it was going to be gorgeous. So let's take a minute to look at the packaging. I don't have any fingerprints on it as of yet, you guys. You're getting fresh bottle here, and I was very intrigued by this powder. As you know, I'm not a huge powder fan. I have dry skin, so it's not like my top priority, but I have always really liked my Koh Gen Do powders, probably best. I use like Sicily loose powders, probably the one I use daily, but this one sounded so good. And we're just going to take the little lid off here. And it comes with a fresh little powder puff, and I do actually like to use a little bit of a powder puff when I use Koh Gen Do. I will kind of do a little rolling technique so it kind of sets the makeup, and then use a little brush to kind of wipe off any excess. But first, let's learn about this powder. So this may be a dream come true, but when I read the description of this new beautiful powder, it said it was going to be a weightless powder that was going to provide moisture flawlessly on the skin and kind of provide a velvet finish. So I was like, oh my gosh, I have to try this ASAP. This might be my dream powder. It contains 5 botanical oils as well as their kind of tea tree oil. So their tea tree oil that is in their products is jojoba oil, shea butter, as well as squalene. So this is all sounding quite wonderful. This is a mineral-based powder, so again, it's good for your skin. I used to, like way back in the day, be exclusively all about bare minerals, but I did find that to look kind of a little cakey on the skin if I didn't put it on properly. So this just sounds amazing, and I'm just going to use this little powder puff here. So as far as the shade, it is very translucent. Let's see, right here is kind of what and it does feel really super soft and velvety on the skin. So you're right, I almost can feel a little bit of the oil in the powder, not in a bad way, but just that it does feel moisturizing already. So I'm going to take just what's on here, and we are going to kind of do this little roll technique. Kind of a little Laura Mercier tip from back in the day. How many of you, I'm aging myself here, but I had the whole little Laura Mercier complexion set of everything, and they taught me all about the technique of rolling the powder on. Okay guys, here is what that powder looks like on. Now clearly I just pressed some on. I'm going to kind of let that sink into the skin. Well, I will say that kind of did blur out on my skin and give that velvety finish. I definitely see a velvety finish to it. Again, it doesn't feel powdery at all. It feels very weightless, just like they described. And I really like the idea of it having some skincare benefits in it that are going to hydrate my skin. So I usually wear just teeny weeny bits of powder on my face because I have dry skin, but I do really like this. So this might be a little dream powder for me this year. So excited. Let's move on to the next little haul item I got. Now again, this is not new. This is just new to me, but I'm a huge fan of Hourglass products. And I ended up picking up this mini ambient powder palette. Now I have several of the 6-pan palettes, and again, kind of like eyeshadow, I seem to do better if there's only 4 shades. I don't know why, you guys, but when I get palettes, they kind of get stuck in my drawer. I don't know why I don't pull them out, but I love my Hourglass powders. I think they're one of the best, and I thought it would be fun to use these today. Now there is a little finishing powder here, but that's totally fine. We'll use that as well today because it's going to be finishing. So we just set my face with this sheer moisture powder. But we're going to put a little bit of color on my face using these beautiful Hourglass products. So we're first going to go in with the bronzer, and I do have the brush that goes with the little ambient powder kind of palette, so they fit perfectly in the little squares here, and I really do enjoy their brushes. So Hourglass really is one of my favorite brands ever, and I'm going to start playing with a little bit more of their makeup because I have so much of it. I just think that they don't launch as many things all the time, but I tend to use their products a lot, and so I just want to kind of highlight that brand. So this is the bronzer. Okay, this bronzer is Golden Bronze Light. So pretty, I love that. Then we're gonna go into Mood Flush over here, which I think is gonna look super pretty. Love their blushes. Now the thing with their blushes is that they don't necessarily kind of swatch really well. Like if you're trying to swatch their blushes, since they're kind of blended with their ambient powders, I find them to be so much prettier on the skin than when you swatch them in store. So then it comes with this champagne light highlighter. And for someone who doesn't like highlighters that much, I actually really enjoy Hourglass because, again, I find them to be a little bit more natural looking. Give my cheekbones just a little bit of a lift. And then I'm going to just dust a little bit of this finishing powder. We'll go ahead and put a little bit of that on, just a little bit. And this finishing powder is in Soft Light. Now I feel like we've got complexion on, a little bit of color, a little bit of bronze, but I really love that little mini palette. I'm so happy that I finally picked it up. Again, you guys, I'm a little late to the game on certain launches, especially when I already have some of their other palettes. But this one I have been using since I picked it up. So super excited about the mini palette. And then I had to pick up the Byredo This is the Corporate Colors Little Eye Palette. Now, as many of you know, if you watch my channel, I'm a huge fan of Byredo Fragrances. That was kind of like my first introduction into niche kind of fragrance brands. And ever since then, I've bought many a Byredo scent, as well as bath showers, body butters, lotions. I just love that whole line. And so when this first came out, I wasn't sure why they were branching out into makeup. I have to admit I was a little suspect, but that I saw Lisa Eldridge give a shout out to this Corporate Colors, and I was like, you know what, I've got to give this a try. So this first, the packaging is amazing. It's almost like a little shell here, and it's kind of nice and weighty here. Just kind of a pretty little pebble or shell, or almost like an oyster kind of packaging. So pretty. And then inside, these colors are very much what I enjoy. So we're going to look at this. Such a pretty tonal kind of look. And I love the fact that you can kind of like, if for someone like myself, you don't have to use all of the shades at once. You can, or you could kind of focus on this side of the eye or go a little bit more deeper, little combination of both. But I'm first going to swatch this for you and then we'll play with it on my eyes. Okay, guys, here is a swatch of this Corporate Colors. And it's funny, these first two shades over here that have some shine in them, they almost feel like buttery and creamy kind of shadows. And then this color over here is kind of a pretty neutral shade, kind of your perfect little crease color. And this one is matte and it definitely felt powdery. And then we've got these two at the end. So this one and the last one, which is, let me just show you in here. This one and this last one here are like matte colors, and they felt a little powdery. And then this one had a little bit of shimmer in it as well, a little bit creamier. So kind of an interesting kind of feel between the shades, because those ones felt like really buttery, like when I was swatching them. It almost came out almost like a cream shadow. So I think this is gorgeous right here. Very much my kind of shade. I love this green. I think we'll play up a little bit of that today. And then you could also use that kind of deeper kind of cocoa color kind of as a liner or to smoke your eyes out. So again, this is sort of first impressions. I haven't played around with this yet, so we are playing together today. I'm going to go in with this middle shade here, and I'm going to just kind of create a little crease shade. So I'm going to come here and we'll see how the pigmentation is. Okay, pigmented, and we'll have to blend this out a little bit. I put a little bit too much of the shadow on my brush. I'm using the Chanel, this is the blender shader, and we'll just kind of smoke this out. Don't worry, I will blend everything. I'm going to use whatever's left on this side of the shadow. Okay, I do need some more. Okay guys, I really like the color of that. When I was first kind of looking at it, I thought it was more kind of an orangey tone, but to me, it's got a little bit more on that kind of deserty, slightly mauve color. So I'm kind of really liking that base shade. Again, it's a little bit powdery. Took me a minute to kind of blend it in, but I feel like it definitely has pigmentation. Now, I think what I'll do is I'm going to go in with this one right here. It looks so pretty. I'm going to put some of that on my lid, a little bit of lightness on my lid. And I'm just using the other more of a flat-sided brush. And as I said, these have an interesting kind of cream-like quality to the more shimmery shades. So I'm going to put that on. It has a really nice mirror, by the way. And I'm going to use that. That's a pretty shade. Okay. Okay guys, I guess we're going for a little bit more of a glam eye. This one right here is definitely like a shimmery powerhouse. So I put that down and it's so pretty, you guys. It just really did a little bit more go lightly. You don't need to put as much as I did. Again, it's a little bit creamy in texture, and so I put a little bit too much on my brush, and then I was like, okay, we're gonna do a nice little soft glam look today. So next, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna take this kind of forest green color here, and I'm gonna use that as liner, and I'm gonna use that as liner today. We're gonna kind of see how that works. So it's just kind of a pretty little wash of that forest green. And then I thought what I would do is use Chantecaille. This is in Black Forest. And I'm going to use this pencil to kind of define the rest of my eyes and bring out a little bit more of that green color. Okay guys, we have put eyeliner on. I am going to put a little bit of concealer underneath my eyes because I forgot to do that. And I'm just going to use my Chantecaille. I do have a Koh Gen Do concealer that I do like, but this is kind of my go-to. So I'm just going to put a little bit of that to kind of clean up. I'm just going to take this and kind of clean that up. So I did have a little bit of fallout from that one shadow, but again, I kind of dug into it and those are creamier. So to me, I would tell you this is a user error, first time kind of playing with the formulation of these, but this one is creamy. You don't need to use a lot, and I kind of dug in there and had just a little bit of sparkly fallout. Guess what? You just use this with a Q-tip or a little cotton pad. I just kind of wiped that clean and I think we're fine. Okay, let me go put on mascara. I think it'll kind of ground the overall eye look. But so far, you guys, this is a really pretty quad. It's kind of right in my kind of tones that I like. So I'm enjoying it. I think what I would do, play around, little lighter hand next time, but so far still happy with the purchase. So I'll go put on mascara, clean up my brows, and then we'll put on a little lippy. Okay, you guys, I put on mascara, I cleaned up my brows, and then I thought I would do a little spritz of rose water on my face. And then we're gonna do lip fragrance, and then I even have a hair product I want to tell you about. Little spritz. I kind of like to use this too to kind of help flatten any flyaways of my hair. So spritzing of that. And then let me show you this real quick. I'm a fan of the Orbe brand, and I picked up this Air Style. This is the flexible finishing cream, and it was funny because online the little jar seems like huge, but this is what you get, but you only need a little bit. So for my hair, I need something that's going to kind of flatten down the ends, smooth this out, but I don't like the feeling of anything too heavy. I have very fine hair, so this is what it looks like. And I'm just going to take just a very much, it's just literally like a little cream product like this, and then I will just kind of take just about that amount, and I'm going to rub it through my hands, and then I can kind of come through and wring it down and then just run it through to kind of give a little bit of management through my hair. So I tend to get a lot of these little flyaways here, so if I can kind of like flatten it here without flattening my overall hair. And I'll just do a little bit on my ends here, and it just tends to really work. It makes your hair soft, but it doesn't feel crunchy or anything like that, but it'll kind of help keep this all in place. So really been enjoying this little product here. And again, that's the Airstyle Flexible Finish Cream. Now they had a couple different, like if you like something a little bit more stiff, they have a couple different versions, but I've so far been loving this. A little goes a long way, and it smells good too. Okay, let's go ahead, put on lip, and I pulled out number 63. This is in Ultimate. And you guys, I love these little Allure Rouge Lacs. They are so good. It's like a liquid lipstick slash kind of lip gloss. And this is my favorite color. And this shade to me is just my lips, but better. It definitely gives me a little bit more oomph. It's not gonna wash me out. So maybe a little one step up deeper than my current lip shade. So I just love this. It's gonna give me a little stain on my lips. They are not drying. They're very long wearing and they're so comfortable. So this one is in Ultimate. Have to say, great day-to-day shade. Okay, we are going to end with fragrance of the day. And since we are using Byredo on the eyes, I ended up pulling out my current Byredo. So right now, as you know, I've been talking about Ball to Freak a bunch because this was my original little fragrance that I love, and I've fallen in love with this again. I also love Velvet Haze, and this was my signature scent for a very long time. So Velvet Haze is just almost like a kind of a clean, powdery, it's definitely a patchouli kind of musky scent, but there is a cleanness to it and a powderiness, but not over the top. Like the name Velvet Haze does describe this very well. It's going to kind of envelop you, give you a little bubble of velvet. This one is a huge compliment getter for me. This is one that when I wear, I in the past used to be a complete hugger. So if I saw anybody at the grocery store or when I see clients, I like to hug people and they'd be like, oh my gosh, you smell so amazing. And this would be Velvet Haze. So love that one. And then I've got like a teeny weeny bit of Mojave Ghost left. So this was another one of like my first kind of buys from this brand. I think I had Gypsy Water, I think it was Ball to Freak, probably Mojave Ghost, maybe. I think it was Ball to Freak. I think then I got Gypsy Water. I then got Mojave Ghost. This was always something that my family would buy for me. It's just a different Byredo fragrances. So I have kind of gone through several of them. And a little bit left, so I kind of feel like we should wear this today. This one is a floral oriental fragrance. It's got ambrette in it, and I tend to like fragrances with ambrette in it. So it's got that as well as a little bit of violet in it, and then a bit of creamy sandalwood, and then a little bit of a woodiness in the base, cedar and ambergris. So we're gonna go ahead wear this one. I haven't worn it in years, and you know what? I remember clearly I always liked it because I'm almost out of this guy. So this is just to me what I would consider sort of an easy wear. Nothing too complicated, really kind of a pretty scent. So I'll put a little spritz down here, have some wafting up. So of course, you know, I'm going to want to know what your favorite Byredo scent is. This has just been a brand that I have worn for years and years, and I always like to learn from you if you have a favorite. And this is the final look. So I do feel a little bit glowy and a bit glam today, but that's okay. We're just playing with makeup. It's fun. And now I'm going to go and start baking in the kitchen for the holidays. So I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon.